Top 110 Oscar Wilde quotes. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. Be yourself, everyone else is already taken. We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. Always forgive your enemies, nothing annoys them so much. Never love anyone who treats you like you're ordinary. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Women are meant to be loved, not to be understood. An idea that is not dangerous is unworthy of being called an idea at all. A good friend will always stab you in the front. Death must be so beautiful. To lie in the soft brown earth, with the grasses waving above one's head, and listen to silence. To have no yesterday and no tomorrow. To forget time, to forgive life, to be at peace. We are each our own devil, and we make this world our hell. Live the wonderful life that is in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing. I have the simplest tastes. I am always satisfied with the best. I don't want to go to heaven. None of my friends are there. I am not young enough to know everything. If one cannot enjoy reading a book over and over again, there is no use in reading it at all. I have nothing to declare except my genius. No good deed goes unpunished. Life is far too important a thing ever to talk seriously about. Experience is merely the name men gave to their mistakes. The best way to appreciate your job is to imagine yourself without one. The heart was made to be broken. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask, and he will tell you the truth. Anybody can sympathize with the sufferings of a friend, but it requires a very fine nature to sympathize with a friend's success. The books that the world calls immoral are books that show the world its own shame. Hear no evil, speak no evil, and you'll never be invited to a party. A bore is someone who deprives you of solitude without providing you with company. Anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. You don't love someone for their looks, or their clothes, or for their fancy car, but because they sing a song only you can hear. Fashion is a form of ugliness so intolerable that we have to alter it every 6 months. A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. Men marry because they are tired, women because they are curious, both are disappointed. Most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives a mimicry, their passions a quotation. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. Quotation is a serviceable substitute for wit. No man is rich enough to buy back his past. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. If you cannot write well, you cannot think well. If you cannot think well, others will do your thinking for you. To define is to limit. Whenever people agree with me, I always feel I must be wrong. The old believe everything, the middle-aged suspect everything, the young know everything. Life is not complex. We are complex. Life is simple, and the simple thing is the right thing. Everything in the world is about sex except sex. Sex is about power. Never regret thy fall, O Icarus of the fearless flight, for the greatest tragedy of them all is never to feel the burning light. You will always be fond of me. I represent to you all the sins you never had the courage to commit. I am too fond of reading books to care to write them. Society often forgives the criminal, it never forgives the dreamer. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. I beg your pardon, I didn't recognize you, I've changed a lot. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live, it is asking others to live as one wishes to live. How can a woman be expected to be happy with a man who insists on treating her as if she were a perfectly normal human being? A passion for pleasure is the secret of remaining young. Life has been your art. You have set yourself to music. Your days are your sonnets. A writer is someone who has taught his mind to misbehave. Ordinary riches can be stolen, real riches cannot. In your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. Behind every exquisite thing that existed, there was something tragic. Keep love in your heart. A life without it is like a sunless garden when the flowers are dead. The consciousness of loving and being loved brings a warmth and a richness to life that nothing else can bring. There are moments when one has to choose between living one's own life, fully, entirely, completely, or dragging out some false, shallow, degrading existence that the world in its hypocrisy demands. For one moment our lives met, our souls touched. Every woman is a rebel. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. If you don't get everything you want, think of the things you don't get that you don't want. Democracy means simply the bludgeoning of the people by the people for the people. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. A little sincerity is a dangerous thing, and a great deal of it is absolutely fatal. Man is many things, but he is not rational. The basis of optimism is sheer terror. Patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. To be popular, one must be a mediocrity. To regret one's own experiences is to arrest one's own development. To deny one's own experiences is to put a lie into the lips of one's own life. It is no less than a denial of the soul. It is through art, and through art only, that we can realize our perfection. I knew nothing but shadows and I thought them to be real. I like talking to a brick wall, it's the only thing in the world that never contradicts me. I like men who have a future and women who have a past. When I like people immensely, I never tell their names to anyone. It is like surrendering a part of them. I have grown to love secrecy. Arguments are to be avoided, they are always vulgar and often convincing. Humanity takes itself too seriously. It is the world's original sin. If the caveman had known how to laugh, history would have been different. And what sort of lives do these people, who pose as being moral, lead themselves? My dear fellow, you forget that we are in the native land of the hypocrite. One's real life is so often the life that one does not lead. He wanted to be where no one would know who he was. He wanted to escape from himself. I never put off till tomorrow what I can possibly do the day after. There is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written. That is all. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. When a woman marries again, it is because she detested her first husband. When a man marries again, it is because he adored his first wife. Women try their luck, men risk theirs. The most terrible thing about it is not that it breaks one's heart, hearts are made to be broken, but that it turns one's heart to stone. People who count their chickens before they are hatched act very wisely, because chickens run about so absurdly that it's impossible to count them accurately. A cynic is a man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. This wallpaper is dreadful, one of us will have to go. There are only two tragedies in life, one is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it. In old days, books were written by men of letters and read by the public. Nowadays, books are written by the public and read by nobody. Sin is a thing that writes itself across a man's face. It cannot be concealed. One should never trust a woman who tells one her real age. A woman who would tell one that would tell one anything. The smallest act of kindness is worth more than the grandest intention. Being natural is simply a pose, and the most irritating pose I know. Everything in moderation, including moderation.